Awesome. Okay, well, I think we can go ahead and get started. I love this moons. That's a great little emoji. I hope everybody's having a really nice day, but welcome to the FireStride Chat. Today is Thursday, July 20th, the day after we have officially launched ICS. So this is a really exciting time. You guys are the first group that we actually get to connect with directly to discuss this. There's always conversations happening on Twitter or in Telegram or Discord, but this is like I think a really cool moment to chat with the team directly. So please, I encourage everybody if you have anything on your mind, just a curiosity even, please share that during this time. Um, but I think I will pass the mic off to Riley. Riley, do you want to give us a little synopsis of what the this last week has looked like for the Stride team? I know you said, you're missing out on sleep, but we've arrived at the finish line and it feels like a very exciting time. So I'm sure the people would love to know what that's been like.
Yeah, totally. So we've been working on ICS. The Stride Labs team has been working on ICS along with Informal, the ICF, Interchain, Haifa, a bunch of different dev teams around Cosmos that contribute to the hub and to Stride for 9 months now. It's been a long, long time coming. And finally went live yesterday. It was, I can't imagine it having gone more smoothly. So it was a big, big success. Maybe I'll run through a few quick questions about it, and then maybe I'll give a quick 1 or 2 minute synopsis of what happened. First of all, what's unique about Stride doing this today? The only other ICS chain that's live right now is Neutron. They took a slightly different path. They launched a new chain directly into ICS. Stride, on the other hand, was already its own sovereign chain and needed to make a transition into ICS. So, not to overuse the engineering trope of changing the engines on a airplane in flight, that's kind of what Stride did. And Neutron maybe installed new engines on the airplane right before takeoff. So it was a very, very involved process, but it went pretty smoothly. The few steps that went down yesterday were first, around 3:30 p.m., Stride performed an upgrade. So the Stride validator set switched out its binary for a new binary that included all the ICS code changes. Then, while Stride was halted, and once we got to 66% voting power with the new binary, Stride started producing blocks again. And 3 blocks later, the Cosmos Hub performed an upgrade to connect to Stride. 3 blocks later, the Cosmos Hub performed an upgrade to add some code that would allow it to connect to Stride. And then finally, a channel was created between the Cosmos Hub and Stride to allow packets to flow back and forth. And these packets contain information regarding how much voting power is staked and what the active validators are and which blocks are being produced, and slashing if slashing is necessary. So the longest part of these 3 steps was the second step. Stride's validator set was pretty quick to update. The Cosmos Hub validator set took about an hour, I would say, to update, mostly because some of the bigger validators like Coinbase and SG1 and Finance typically have a slower process, apparently for security reasons. So we're waiting for them to upgrade, and then once they upgraded, we opened the channel, the ICS channel, and everything was smooth from there. So Stride is now finally validated and secured by the $2.5 billion of Cosmos Hub security, which is a huge, huge step forward for the security of liquid staking on Stride. Now, what does this mean for all the different parties involved? For users, you still stake your Stride. You still use the app as you would. You still liquid stake and use your ST tokens around the ecosystem. If you're staking Stride, you still earn Stride tokens. You still earn staking rewards from the ST tokens around the ecosystem. So basically, as a user, nothing changes. As a validator on the Stride blockchain, if you were previously running a Cosmos Hub validator, you remain a Stride block producer. If you were previously not running a Cosmos Hub validator, then you remain a Stride validator, but you do not produce blocks anymore. So you can spin down your infrastructure. You don't need to run your nodes anymore, but you still receive rewards. And then lastly, for the Stride token and Stride staking rewards, everything remains the same, but 15% of the rewards go to the hub as payment for the security that's being provided. There's a blog on our on the website stridezone/blog that has a bunch more detailed information and all the details that I'm kind of glossing over right now.
Thanks, Riley, for that overview. That's super exciting, and I also loved kind of the breakdown of just sort of the timeline of what yesterday looked like what that actual experience of the transition itself is like. Because yeah, like as you mentioned, this is the first time anyone has done that. So maybe people out there listening will have a little bit of insight into what that process looks like. But I see Moons' question in the chat. He asks, I've never heard of an ICS channel. Is it just a different type of channel, like an ICA channel or IBC channel?
Yeah, so it's an IBC channel, and it's used for passing back and forth specific types of packets. They're called VSC packets, and they contain information about slashing and what are the addresses of the active validators and who signed what block, things like that, that typically occur on a single chain in the staking module. For ICS, those behaviors need to be transmitted between the two chains because the Cosmos Hub valset is producing blocks for Stride, so it uses IBC to pass that information across. It's a new type of channel, but it uses the same light client proofs that IBC uses.
So just to clarify, so the ICS channel, it uses IBC, but it still is its own ICS channel. Does that mean this is like technically the first ICS channel that exists?
It's the second ICS channel. The first one is neutrons, and they both use IBC. IBC you can think of as just a messaging standard and a way of verifying that messages are valid. But the content of the messages can be really anything. Typically, it's just some tokens for token transfers. If you're doing interchain account, it can be like a command that tells a account on a different chain to do something on your behalf. And in the case of an ICS channel with these VSC packets, it's typically some information that says, hey, the last time a block was validated, the list of validators who were involved in that decision is the following, and it will list out the names of the validators.
Okay, that makes sense. I I have a question. I'm kind of curious. So just thinking about the the way in which we are now, well, yeah, I mean, ultimately secured entirely by Cosmos, and that means that, if we have like this, I guess 15% fee of staking rewards that we pay for that security, what does it mean if other chains start to do the same thing that Stride did and become and build these ICS channels so they can also have Cosmos Hub security? Does that mean that like we would begin sharing security with all of the additional chains too? Or is it sort of Cosmos remains this centerpiece and it's like does that make sense what I'm asking? Like, does it remain like a path just between Cosmos and us when other people start to do this with Cosmos? Or are we now connected some way to like Neutron too?
Yeah, it's a great question. So people talk about the atom economic zone, and people also talk about the hub and spoke model. This phrase was particularly popular in the early days of Cosmos when the role of the Cosmos Hub was envisioned to be this centerpiece and all the other chains connect to each other only through the Cosmos Hub. Today, that's not really true. Osmosis and Stride talk to each other directly rather than through the Cosmos Hub. But with this new vision of ICS, as with the Cosmos Hub being a provider of security to all other chains, uh, any chain that joins the Atom Economic Zone might end up looking a little bit more like a spoke in this hub and spoke model, and it inherits security from the Cosmos Hub. Now, what's the end game of interchain security and replicated security and the Atom Economic Zone? That's a very hard question, and if you spend any time on Twitter, you'll know it's hotly debated. A lot of the Cosmos Hub fans think that the end game is for many projects to join the Atom Economic Zone and supply some kind of real yield to the Cosmos Hub and make the Atom token and the Cosmos Hub sustainable in the long run by accumulating those rewards. People like Sunny from Osmosis think there might be a slightly different vision where you have alliances of blockchains that connect to each other and inherit security from multiple parties. And maybe the Cosmos and IBC landscape ends up looking a little bit like what NATO looks like in the real world, where there are several different overlapping alliances where the bigger players in the alliances rent their security and trust to the smaller players, but they're all connected in some way. We'll see where it ends up. The visions are, I think, pretty compatible. You could envision a world where there's a big mesh of IBC chains, and the Cosmos Hub, because it's so large, has the most trust and is providing the largest share of security. But maybe Osmosis is also providing some security to others, while at the same time consuming security from the hub. So we'll see where it goes. I think Stride for now is consuming security only from the hub, but might move over to mesh at some point in the future.
This might be a conversation for a different day or if we have more time, but I guess that makes me think about like something I have noticed on Twitter when people are discussing, what this transition means and what the future of this can look like if more chains do adopt this is, the question of what decentralization really looks like at that point. Like, do you feel like, I guess just you, Riley, like, do you feel any concern about what that could mean for decentralization and or do you feel like this type of do you feel like ICS has any like way of threatening that? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Do you know who asked the question? It would be helpful to double click on what they mean by decentralization. Maybe just to speak on it at a high level. The Stride validator set previously had 100 validators. Now the Stride block producer set, which is the Cosmos Hub validator set, has I think 180 members. So in that sense, it's more decentralized. People also look at decentralization in terms of how many validators would be required to halt the chain. I think that was previously 6, now it's 8. Call that the Nakamoto coefficient. There are a number of other metrics. Do you have a little more context?
I think the context honestly was probably in some way like I read this maybe a week or so ago, so I'm kind of just speaking from memory here, but I feel like the context that I was understanding is more about the kind of like in the the consolidation of these validators. So even with having more validators technically, like if more chains were to sort of inherit this in the same way, like wouldn't that decrease the overall amount of validators per like because each chain has its own set. But if our chain now has like, it had 100, there's 180, but there's not an additional but there but the rest go away. Does that make sense? Like if we all are inheriting this same like larger number?
Yeah, I think what you're speaking to maybe is the fact that the different validator sets that secure different Cosmos chains are not totally overlapping. For
Hmm.
example, validator A might validate Stride, validator B might validate both Stride and the Cosmos Hub, and validator C might validate only the Cosmos Hub. So maybe you have more validators in that case than you might have if Stride and the Cosmos Hub shared a validator set. That's true. I, I'm not sure how important it is for there to be many validators in aggregate across many chains. Maybe there's some point about like fault tolerance where if the validator set for one chain goes down, the other chains could remain active. Um, in the case where the validators aren't all overlapping. So like in a really bad outcome where AWS goes down and Hetzner goes down and all the different providers of nodes go down at the same time, maybe some of the chains remain online. You definitely
Okay.
lose that with ICS.
Okay. This makes sense. Yeah, I think that's probably connected to that probably is this the answer that this person maybe was looking for. So that's quite interesting too. I'm gonna scroll up a little bit though, and we can get to the questions that are in the chat. Um, does that sound good?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sweet. Okay. So, I think that the first question I'm seeing is, did someone, oh, okay. Are rewards from liquid staking only going to Stride stakers, or are those shared with Cosmos Hub stakers as well? This is a question we have not yet answered.
Yeah, great. Good question. And I see a few follow-ups to that in the chat as well. So maybe I'll just hit them all.
Okay.
Here's how rewards work. 85% of all rewards, both Stride and SC tokens, continues to go to Stride stakers. And Stride governors who were previously validators can continue to charge a commission. So they continue to earn some Stride and some ST tokens through their commission. And if you're delegated to one of them as a validator, you pay them a commission and you keep the rest. The other 15% goes to the Cosmos Hub. And of those 15%, the Stride tokens are already flowing to the Cosmos Hub. So if you're an Atom staker and you claim your rewards right now, you can go try it actually during the call. It's kind of fun. For the first time, you'll receive tokens that are not just Atom. You'll receive some Stride. But you don't yet receive ST tokens. We need a governance vote on the hub to enable that. So in about a week or two, I think, or I guess 14 days, since that's the governance period. In 14 days, you'll receive ST tokens in addition to the Stride tokens and the Atom tokens as a Atom staker.
Nice. Thanks for clarifying that. And we see another question that says, I saw in your roadmap that you will create a dashboard mentioning the Stride stats. You will use the indexer for this purpose. Which team will work on it, and do you need assistance with it? So, general inquiry about the roadmap and what exactly this is going to look like.
Cool. Yeah, good question. So as with any item in the roadmap, it's decided by governance. Anyone can work on it. I'll just speak since I work with Stride Labs as one of the contributors, but there are many others. I'll speak to what Stride Labs is doing. I don't know if any others are creating dashboards. There are some dashboards from the community. For example, there's a DeFi Llama dashboard. I think there's a token terminal dashboard that's not live yet, but someone's working on it. And the Stride Labs team is working on one as well. We had previously released an earlier version of it, but we took it down. We're going to put it back up once it's in a better shape. And it shows TVL, it shows redemption rate, market rate. It shows the value of the ST tokens through time. It shows the yield on Stride in the various tokens that you earn from staking Stride, all that good stuff. And it uses an indexer. Stride Labs works with a few professional teams that provide indexers. So we're using one of those. We don't need assistance with this particular dashboard, but would be great for others to work on dashboards too. The more we can the more we can display this information to the public, the better. I see a quick follow-up. Is this what info.stride.zone used to be? This is what info.stride.zone used to be, but it wasn't quite up to the standards that we wanted. And so we never really announced info.stride.zone. I think if anyone saw it, it was probably just through word of mouth. We're making the fixes, beefing it up a little bit, and then we'll post it more prominently.
Awesome. Thanks for clarifying that too. And I see some folks are typing. I also saw that somebody tried to come on stage and raise their hand to speak. So if that was you, feel free to do that now, and you are welcome to come speak and ask your question.
So yeah, so I wanted to ask about, like, I asked this thing in chat and I got reply, but I wanted to clarify it. So like the we are validating on Hub, and so to get on the governance, we what else we have to do on the do we have to run a different node, or what we have to do for that part? If we are already a validator on the Hub and we are running a node for Stride.
Yeah, good question. That actually is a perfect segue. So there are two ways you can get involved with Stride as a Cosmos Hub validator. If you were already running a Cosmos Hub node and you did the transition to ICS yesterday, then you should be running a Stride node now. And that means you're producing blocks for the Stride blockchain, and you take part in governance in that way. If there's a software upgrade on Stride, then you'll have to upgrade your node. And as a delegate that's chosen by your delegators. There's another way you can get involved with Stride, which is the Stride val selection process. And this just went live a few days ago. I think back in November, we ran this for the first time. It's basically a framework that's used to propose new validators that would receive delegations from the Stride protocol. And it works by electing a council of informed members of the Cosmos Hub community to screen validators based on their applications. So you as a validator would submit a questionnaire form to this council. They review it, they rank your submissions according to some objective criteria, and then they propose to include you in a validator set. And once that validator set is proposed, it goes up on governance. The Stride token holders vote on it. And if it's voted in, then the Stride protocol will redelegate its delegations so that you can receive some. So that's the other way you can get involved. You can submit your application to this process, and Stride will delegate some of its, I think, 15 to 20 million dollars worth of Atom to your validator.
Oh, thank you. And like, I wanted to ask, like, how we get people to delegate to us. So I'm talking about Stride tokens. Like, we are validating on the Hub and we are running Stride node also. But how do we get in the governor set kind of thing? Like, we don't even show up in there. So do we have to run a different node, or we can do something with the already running node we are running?
Yeah, if you're already running a node, don't worry about the block explorers. They're a little bit behind. They need to update and show who's active. So the block explorers will show the governor set at some point. If you were previously running a validator, you can spin it down, and don't worry, you'll be a governor or a governor. The words are confusing. You'll be a governor, and you can check that you're a governor by trying to claim some rewards. You'll see that they're aligning in your account. You don't need to do anything to remain in the set, but you might want to provide services to your delegators in order to convince them that you're a good governor to delegate to. So you can contribute socially to the Stride protocol, contribute code, all the things that you would previously have done as a validator, other than running hardware.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, good questions. Just a few other updates. The liquid staking module is going into the Cosmos Hub V12 upgrade. Cosmos Hub is currently on V10. So it's doing one upgrade before the LSM. That upgrade is, I think, going onto the forum pretty soon, the next few days. And then once that upgrade is voted through, then the V12 will go up right after it. So I think we're getting pretty close here. And Stride will support the liquid staking module as soon as it launches. And that's it from my side on updates. I think Summer might have a few. Then we can go back to questions.
Thank you so much, Riley. And just real quick, can you hear me okay? Just making sure my connection's good.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, I just have a couple updates for you guys. I'm going to repeat one that I mentioned earlier since we have a little bit of a bigger audience, but I want you guys to, if you're interested, save the date for our August community call. This will be hosted August 6th at noon Eastern Standard Time, aka 4 p.m. UTC. So be there. We will have plenty to talk about as always, and we'd love to see you in the Twitter space as well. And then in case you missed it, I just wanted to elevate the meme contest winter one more time. And last week, we celebrated, I'm talking about it like it was a holiday or something. We celebrated Stride Week, which kind of feels like a holiday now. But we did celebrate. There were plenty of excellent Twitter spaces that you can go look on our Twitter to review the recordings of if you're interested in hearing a little bit about what LSTs and Cosmos, the future of that looks like. But the thing that I want to say to you all is who won the meme contest that we hosted, and this was voter 1337. They made a really excellent video, short video GIF style meme for us, and just wanted to give you a shout out. I hope you love your bad kid, and if you didn't get your bad kid yet, I think you did. I think you definitely did. But if for some reason something went wrong, let me know. But yeah, shout out to you. You're hilarious, and we really appreciate your contributions to the community. And then the last thing that I wanted to say to you guys is that next week on Monday, you can anticipate a community homepage that we are launching. This is going to be the one-stop shop for basically all things, all community resources. So everything from tutorials and guides to basic updates from the week. You will have a link to our Twitter feed. You will have an archive of all of the Stride briefings, FireStride chats, community calls, everything you could possibly think of, or everything that I could possibly think of will be on there. And if I forgot anything, please let me know. And this is a living, we would say this is a living homepage, so we can always be updated as we go. But look out for that Monday. I will post it in an announcement, and I will tag everybody, so you should see it as soon as it goes live. This will not yet be available directly through our Stride website because we just haven't created a button for it yet there, but it will be available in the official links here in Discord, and I will also put this in the official links on or in the bio on our Stride community Twitter account. So if you're looking for this homepage, those are the two places you will find it. And I will also pin it in Telegram. So therefore, everybody will have access at all times. And if you have any questions about it, let me know. Yeah, those are my main updates for you guys. Feel free to send a message or ask in the general chat, and somebody will be able to respond to you then if it comes to you later. But does anybody else have any questions about anything that we talked about today in the meantime? Oh, awesome. Calabi Yao, I am inviting you to the stage. Thank you. How's it going? Thank you for wanting to ask a question.
Curious, or part of the Atom Economic Zone, is Stride going to focus from a business development perspective to build alliances with like Neutron, Duality, and directing incentives towards that, or is that just, or can we speak on that at this point in time?
Yeah. It's a little bit hard to hear you, but I think I understand the question. It's whether there are going to be alliances built between the various atom economic zone chains like Duality, Neutron, and Stride. Is that the question? Um, I'll take that as a yes. Yeah, there are already alliances between those chains. In particular, Neutron and Stride are already collaborating quite closely. For example, in Stride's ICS proposal, Stride asked the Cosmos Hub to provide liquidity that could be used on the Astroport pool on Neutron, and that liquidity should go live pretty shortly. So Neutron and Stride are collaborating in that regard. Duality and Stride are, I think there's some contributors talking to the Duality team about maybe using ST Atom on some of their pools or as a gas token, or a number of other possibilities. I don't think anything is final yet. It's just early conversations. And then there are some other ICS chains that might join the Atom Economic Zone soon. For example, UMI has expressed interest in joining, and Stride and UMI already work very closely together. The largest amount of liquidity on UMI is Stride tokens. So to answer your question, it may be in one word, yes, there are very tight alliances between these chains.
Awesome. Thank you for asking this question. I hope this was your correct question, and if for some reason it wasn't, you can still ask it in the chat. But I think I'm gonna say going once, going twice for questions. Okay, going 3 times sold. It's been awesome today, you guys. Thank you so much for coming to the first Fireside Chat after the launch of ICS. It was really exciting to get to check in with you all about it. And if you have a question that has not yet been answered, that you just really, really want to ask, you can, of course, write this in the general chat, and we can always carry on the conversation there. We'd love to do that, but I think we're going to call it for the day. So thank you, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks, Riley. It was awesome having you in here today.
Yeah, it was fun. Thanks for joining, everyone. We'll see you next Thursday, and happy ICS transition.
happy ICS transition. Peace out, everyone.
Bye.